Joining us today on Beyond the Booths is a talented DJ and producer whose commitment to music expands beyond his own creative pursuits. From producing and engineering for other artists to mentoring emerging talent to teaching music in prisons. Over the past 2 years, he's returned to DJing production full-time, which has gained him international attention, including releasing an official remix of the top 10 hit single Asking by Sonny Fodera, MK and Clementine Douglas. And he has played at some of the UK's biggest clubs and festivals, adding to his long list of achievements. Please welcome the incredible Jae Depz. Jae, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
On your socials, you've been very busy. It's June when we're recording this.
Yeah.
We're well into festival season.
Yeah,
now.
just kicking off, yeah.
How's that been going for you?
It's been going good. Very surprisingly, like, things just keep sort of popping up, and a couple of them have been really last minute. Forbidden was like a last minute one. It came on the week that it was going to be announced.
No way.
And Lee Trest was like the day before that was announced. So they're coming in very last minute, but I'm just thankful that they're coming in at all, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's good.
Gemfest looked like it went off as well.
Yeah, Gemfest, I was waiting for that for so long. It was amazing. Like, them guys that pull up, like, what they do as a team, like, it's just incredible. Like, what they do for their events anyway, but then when they put together a festival, I think their second year was like a big festival, but their third year overall, and they had like 6,000 people there, which was just mind-blowing. The lineup was sick. It was just good vibes all weekend.
Yeah, it looked insane. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But before we do, you've had such a diverse range of roles in the music industry.
Yeah.
But could you tell us a little bit about what you do currently in the music industry?
Currently, I'm a DJ, music producer, artist, focusing mainly on like speed garage, bassline, UK garage, yeah.
Nice. So I'd like to start right at the start. What was sort of your musical influences growing up?
There were so many. So growing up, I was actually well into like the speed garage days, speed garage music, and all sorts. Like, my sister used to have like bassline and speed garage tapes and stuff like that. I was into rap music. I was well into like more American rap, then into grime when grime was emerging, like from like Skepta and Dizzy and JME and people like that. Just a whole mix of everything, really. Nice.
And what was it that actually got you into wanting to pursue music yourself? I mean, if it was as a hobby to start with, or...
Yeah, I think, do you know what it is? For everyone, it starts off as a hobby. I mean, back when I first started, it's going back a long time ago, so there wasn't any YouTube about, there wasn't any social media. It was just like, people were just doing it, and you didn't really... When you're a kid, you're not really thinking about, I want to do this as a job. I wasn't anywhere, and I don't think anyone who was doing music was thinking that. We were just doing it. It was just something we figured out how to do, and we were just, making it happen. Yeah.
So what were your first steps into making music?
There's a couple. Like, I started off, I'm not going to get too into it, but I started off writing lyrics firstly, like, I'll just writing bars, writing songs. Production-wise, I think a lot of people... If you ask a lot of other DJs and producers my age, they'll talk about Music 3000 for the PS1, I think it was. And I remember vaguely like going on that, but that wasn't like a first step. The first thing I ever made music on was something called DJ EJ, which was like, it was just like Splice before Splice and Ableton before Ableton. It was like just loops, all loops. So you just like, it was software on a computer and you just put loops together. And I remember doing that in music class in school, and that was like the first time I ever made a beat, technically.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So education was obviously a big part of your musical journey growing up.
Kind of. I didn't have to do music GCSE in school or like that.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, then it wasn't really focused for anyone doing anything other than like guitar music, rock music or folk or classical. If you were doing anything outside of that, if you were doing dance music, bassline, rap, anything else other than them specific genres, you probably weren't going to do music as a GCSE.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah, I see that. I feel like that's probably not changed much either.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit like, I work with a lot of young people that have made beats at school and stuff like that. So like, sometimes I'm going to like teach a music workshop, and they're like, oh yeah, I've used Logic before, I've used Ableton or Cubase, and I've made beats in it at school.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's changing a bit now, but like, yeah, it wasn't the case then.
Well, this is the thing, people like you are obviously part of that change and like
Yeah.
bringing dance music into education, which is so important.
Yeah, definitely.
Your journey is difficult to know where to start because you, like I said before, you've done so much.
Yeah.
I know sort of getting into music, am I right in thinking you sort of started out MCing in your local grime scene, is that right?
Yeah, there was a lot of, grime was like such a big part of our scene in Bradford and Leeds and just everywhere really back then. There were so many MCs, so many crews, and we were just getting about just everywhere we could, just spitting bars and eventually, very quickly I got into production from then and DJing as well. So like I sort of stayed more to them two things.
And then what drew you into the education side of things and teaching things?
Do you know what? It's probably the youth service, yeah. So the Bradford youth service was a big part in like us getting into music. There was a youth centre called Ollerton Youth Centre, and there was loads of people that went there. And we used to just go up, like I say, spit bars, make tunes. A little studio there. We had decks there. That's where I learned how to DJ. Learned how to DJ from one of the workers there, Chris, who it's really crappy, like old Newmark decks, and we were just spinning bassline tunes and grime tunes. So that, and then from there, I got working with the youth service, and then eventually got into. It was just sort of a natural progression into teaching. I set up music workshops from there, and then got into teaching full time.
Amazing. So was that? I know you set up your own enterprise, didn't you? So
yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So back. Talking nearly 15 years ago now, managed to get some funding for just for some music workshops. There was a studio we used to go to called Waxworks Studios, and that again, if for anyone who was into like the history of Bradford grime music, that was the place to be. Any MC, DJ, whenever went to Waxworks back in the day. But when that closed down, so we used to work with them guys, and we were trying to get them funding as well, because we would go in there all the time, like spending all our money just going to that studio and recording and making music. When that shut down, there wasn't really anything else about for us. So a new studio had just been built in Bradford. So applied for some funding and run some workshops there, and tried run some sessions there, and I managed to get it and set up social enterprise from there.
I love that.
And it was good. I loved it. There was, we had so many people coming in on an evening just making music. It was sick. And
what sort of difference do you think that can make to young people's lives, a space like that?
Yeah, massive. It's massive. Like, it helped me. If I wasn't going to the like youth centre and just making tunes, I don't know what I would have been. Well, I know what I would have been doing, but it wouldn't have been anything productive at all. Do you know what I mean? It would have probably led me down a different path. I know that. Yeah.
Interesting. And then, you're talking about education and things. I know you then went on to teach in prisons, which is incredible. But also, you don't hear a lot of people going into prisons to teach things. Like, I hadn't really heard of many people doing that. How did you get into that, and what was that like?
Well, I didn't know education ran in jails like that. I knew it kind of happened to an extent, like. Where I've grown up, like there's a lot of people, a lot of friends, and people have gone to jail, but I didn't know the full extent of what it was like. So I was working at this PRU, independent school in Bradford, and they sent me to Wetherby to sort of run like like a taster session sort of thing, sort of like just to bring people back to the centre when they were released. Do you know what I mean? So they could do music there. So I've gone there. I've set up the decks. Doing a DJ workshop there, and I got chatting to some of the people that were working there, a guy called Bobby, and after I'd done what I was doing, he was like, "Yo, there's a job going up here. Do you want to come work here?" I was like, "In here, in a prison? Fuck it, why not?" Alright. I was like, "I'll give it a go." So I applied. I got it, and the job was in IT at first. So it was. I can say this now because I've been there for years. It was dead. Working in IT wasn't like what I wanted to do at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'd gone there, done a DJ workshop, and ended up working teaching IT. So, but it was an in. Do you know what I mean? It was an into the organisation, and eventually got onto teaching media, and then quickly got onto teaching music there.
And what was that like? The difference teaching in the youth centre and your social enterprise versus teaching in a prison?
Well, when you're teaching in a jail, right, a lot of the different courses, like they have risk levels.
Okay.
So like music was considered, it's weird how it works out. It was considered a high risk course because only learners that were high risk, like due to their offence, could go on the course. So say if you, I don't know, murdered someone, you could only go on the high risk courses. You were classed as high risk, so you could only go on to like music, performing arts, and maybe IT and something else. Do you know what I mean? Something where there's not really any apparatus. You couldn't go and do like bricklaying or something, or food tech, because obviously there's tools and stuff you can have access to. So anything computer based, whatever, yeah, you could go on if you were high risk. So we had a lot of young people come in who didn't want to be there, like people coming in saying, no, I want to do like bike workshops, I want to work in the kitchens. Well, you can't work in the kitchens because you've stabbed someone, so they don't want to trust you with knives. Do you know what I mean? So like we had a lot of that, but then a lot of the young people that came in and were doing music were on it, and there's so many talented kids in there. They were just on it, and it was good. We had like a full self-sufficient studio, and everyone really respected it and respected the equipment. Like we had music software on all the computers, we had microphones and monitors and everything like that, and it took a long time to get that. That wasn't there when I got there, and it was thanks to again a few people that were there that had fought for this kit. Me, Chris, Graham, the guys that worked there. There was a lot of people that pushed to get this equipment in to get it running for them, and it worked.
Incredible work. Like you must have made such a difference in there, especially, high risk. Yeah.
I hope so. Like it was good. It was rewarding, but it was like, it was sick.
Yeah. So was this teaching? I know the enterprise that you set up was when you were younger, and then the prison was after that. Yeah. I know that you've done so much. You've also got a degree in music business. Yeah. When did that come into the equation?
That was I was still teaching in jail this time, but at the same time I was I started running some events called Elevation. That was the events company. This was like 2017, so that was focused on rappers and singers and stuff from Bradford, Huddersfield, Leeds, West Yorkshire area. Well, anyone really. But we were getting that to a point where it was good, and we was getting a lot of people through the door. We had people like Blazer Bockel, Graf, Luna C, Tony Victoria, loads of people like coming in and singing, rapping, headlining, whatever. And we're getting to a point where it was going good, and I knew I wanted to do music full time. Like with the prison work, it was like an hour away from my house. I was getting up at like 6 a.m, getting home at 6 p.m, and it was tiring. Like there were some evenings, like it was that tiring, I'd fall asleep on the way home. I'd pull up first and fall asleep, but sometimes it was like I was driving home and I'd be almost gone, so I had to pull up and just sleep for a bit. It was getting that tiring, because when I get home, I'd be working on music throughout the night. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Until early hours of the morning, then going to work the next day. It was getting too much, so I needed a way to make it sustainable. I left the jail and went to study music business, because I thought, like, I know some stuff, but there's loads more that I don't have a clue about.
Yeah, and where did you study?
BIM in Manchester.
Nice, and how was that?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was like a couple of years before COVID, so I think, halfway through the second year, it was COVID. So it was just like online Zoom lessons, wasn't it? But yeah, it was good. Like, I definitely advise going for the networking opportunities, because it did help a lot.
What would you say is your biggest takeaway from your time at uni studying music business?
I don't know. That's a good question. There's a lot, really. Like, networking is the biggest thing. Like, to get into music, you don't really. It sounds mad. You don't need a degree to do this. Like, there's a lot of people that work in the industry that don't have degrees, that don't know a lot of the stuff that you'll get taught in music. Because the music business, essentially, it's sales, isn't it? Like, a lot of it's sales. Like, but networking is a massive thing, and building relationships is a massive thing, and maintaining relationships. So. Yeah, I mean, for anyone who's going to study music business or going to study any sort of music thing at uni, just make the most of it while you're there. When you're there, throw events, like meet other DJs, people, like just that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And Manchester's a great city.
Manchester's wicked for that, yeah.
Did you stay in Manchester after you finished it?
Yeah, so I lived there for a few years. I lived there for like, what was there? About 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then where did you go after that?
Leeds, Kent Leeds, yeah.
Nice. Right here in Leeds.
Right here in Leeds, like it was, yeah. I'm glad I came up.
Yeah, so you've had a wild career. You've just done so much. But I know in the last few years you've gone full time with your own production and DJing. With your production, obviously you said you started at a very young age with your software. But in the lead up to you producing music for yourself, what did you do in between first learning how to produce and then doing all this work? Were you still producing during this time, or
now and again? So like I was doing, I mean, I've probably got a catalogue of like loads of beats, but it wasn't anything I was taking mega serious. Like I've always taken music serious, don't get me wrong, but like on a production thing, I'd like make beats, send them to artists, see if they wanted them. And yeah, there was a big sort of role where there was nothing happening music or creatively for me anyway. Like I'd sort of drifted into the background of like managing artists and doing the events and other stuff like that. And I was just that guy behind the scenes that was trying to orchestrate things and make things work. So music production really took a big halt for me. It was only when I got into, it was such a bizarre way to get back into producing music. Someone, a friend of mine, who was now a friend of mine, Kirsty Taylor, who was a playwright and a poet. She'd written this play and she wanted me to, it was like a musical thing, and she wanted me to create the soundtrack for it. And this was back in 2020 or 2021. So I made the soundtrack for it, but it wasn't like your traditional like musical. It was bassline, it was grime, it was all these sort of things. And I was like, yeah, all right, then I'll do it.
Interesting.
So like I had to really like shake the dust off and then just sort of find my feet again with producing, because we had to produce a lot of music in a short amount of time. We had like 3 weeks to make an album.
Yeah.
So that really like I was in at the deep end, and me and my friend were just in my studio in Manchester, and we just did it. My friend who's a vocalist, Ty, he vocaled the soundtrack and I produced it.
Wow, a musical that's bassline. Yeah. And that's crazy.
Yeah, Cashy C's. It was so sick. It was about like it's about sort of working class cultures and just sort of the struggle and poverty and things like that, and how significant things like cash converters and them sort of things are. And at a time just when everyone's sort of struggling. Yeah. It was wicked.
Amazing. So what sparked your decision to go full time with production and DJing?
Kind of had nothing else going on. I was just like, I was managing a couple of artists, but then after we'd sort of parted ways, I said to my friend Ethan, rang him and I said, you know what I might do? I might just start producing music again properly. I might get back on it and like producing like house and bassline and stuff. And this was back, it was only 2 years ago, early 2023. So I spent like the first half a year like making tunes and just fully like finding my feet with it again. That first half a year was so important because the tunes were like so crap. They're so bad, because like I'd done that album, Cashy C's. I'd done a couple of other things as well. I'd done another theatre project after Cashy C's, and I'd done another one. And all this time I was still DJing as well. So I'd always been DJing. Like that's something that never stopped. But I wasn't playing any of my own tunes out. I had like one house tune that I made like 10 years ago, more than that actually, that I was playing out of my own, and all the rest was everything else. So yeah, I just thought I'd get back into it. So first 6 months, like I said, I was making like crap tunes, and I was testing them out. I thought they were good. Then I tested them out in clubs. I was DJing. I was like, nah, these are dead. And then I just eventually I put some out. Yeah. Just dropped some, and the first thing I dropped, it started moving a bit, and I was like, all right, cool. Maybe there's something in this then. Maybe I found a lane.
100%. We'll get onto that release in a minute. Yeah. Before we get onto that though, I'd love to know what your sort of creative process is when you're sitting down in the studio. I know you've got your own studio now. Yeah. You've got a blank canvas. Where do you start?
I don't make a lot of stuff in the studio, you know.
Do you not?
No. So like I've got a PC. I've got a PC at home, where I was I had it in my home studio and I was making all tunes there. But I just got sick of being in the same spot every day. So I got myself a MacBook, got Logic, and I was just like, I make a lot of stuff in coffee shops and just sat on my sofa, to be honest. Sometimes I get in the studio and I was like, I don't know, my mind goes a bit blank.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you find that you've got more creative freedom in like a out?
Yeah, just out and about, yeah. Just out and about. I make a lot of tunes just on the go.
Cool. So
Yeah.
in terms of actually, so if you're in your coffee shop then,
Yeah.
and you're writing a tune, there'll be a lot of up and coming producers or people that have never produced music before, DJs that want to get into production. Where do you start? Because sometimes an empty Logic file can
It's
look a bit daunting.
It helps to sort of, I mean, there's different ways to do it. You can just like start with loops and just throw some loops in there and see where it goes. It helps to have an idea of like what you want to do. Obviously, remixing stuff is a great way to start. Like, have an idea of what tunes you want to remix. I'm in my notes on my phone. I've got like remix ideas and stuff. Blank like Logic slate. Just try throw some loops in there, or just try get a little melody down. If you can't play keys, fair enough. You don't need to. I didn't play keys for years. I was just like penciling in melodies and stuff like that, and just trying to see what sounds right. So there's different ways. Sometimes I'll start with melody. Sometimes I'll start with drums. I don't know. There's different ways to do it.
Interesting, because a lot of people, I think, do start with drums, so it's cool to hear that you've got different ways of doing it.
I feel like when you start with drums, I don't know, sometimes it works, but sometimes I'll hinder myself because I'm just like, I've got a drum pattern here and I don't know what to do next. Whereas if I start with melody, then I feel like I've got a lot more freedom to move around. Yeah,
it gives you more to work off.
Yeah.
I guess. You mentioned about you only learn into your career how to play keyboard.
Yeah.
That leads me on to my next question. Do you play any other instruments?
Nah, I've tried drums, but my rhythm's awful. Guitar, can't play guitar. Like I can play like Smoke on the Water. That's about it on guitar. But other than that, no, just keys.
So do you think that I feel like some people might be put off starting producing because they don't play an instrument.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's doable without playing an instrument?
Yeah, defo. Like, a lot of my early tunes, like I say, I didn't have a keyboard at home. Mainly 'cause I couldn't afford one. And I was just like penciling in the notes. It helps I'd say it helps to have an idea of music theory, but even back then I didn't really have an idea of music theory. I just kind of got what sounded right. Like my first ever beats, if I listen back to them now, they're completely out of tune. Like they're just random notes, do you know what I mean? So I didn't know, I thought it sounded all right at the time, but I was really young and I didn't know what sounded right and what sounded wrong. But over time, you sort of get what notes work with other ones and what scales you can work in and stuff.
Right.
But you don't need to like I say, because I make a lot of tunes on the go. I've got keyboards at home and stuff and in the studio. But if I just open up the actual keyboard on the laptop and I can just, with house music and stuff, like a bass line and stuff, you don't need a big 88 key piano to play like mad scales. A lot of it's just like you're playing in like 1 or 2 octaves. So you can use the keyboard just on your laptop.
Yeah.
And just play out little melodies.
Yeah. And would you say that your approach to producing the dance music that you produce now, the speed garage and things, is different to your approach when you used to produce grime and Afro beats and that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I always try and keep it very melodic. I feel like, that's a good question actually, because I feel like since I've started doing that, like more of just playing within like the octave or a couple octaves and stuff, there's been a change. Whereas before, when I had a keyboard, I was like just all over the shop, and the melodies were just a bit crazy. But yeah, I feel like it's changed a bit.
Yeah. One thing that you do that's interesting is you mix and master your own tunes.
Yeah.
How did you learn how to mix and master firstly?
I suppose it came from my engineering from other artists and stuff as well. A lot of it is just like from sitting with other engineers and producers in studios. Like I mentioned Waxworks again. We used to go to Waxworks. We'd go down and a lot of the guys, they'd record their bars and then just go out for a smoke or whatever. I'd just sit in the studio and see what they were doing to people's voices and see what they were doing to the tracks and see what plugins they were using.
Yeah, interesting.
But a lot of it came from that, yeah.
How long does it usually take you to mix and master a track once the track's finished?
How long's a piece of string? It can be a day or two. It can be like a year. I'll be honest.
A year?
It can be, honestly, like there's certain tunes that I'll probably never get right, so they'll never come out. I was in studio with Paul Sewell yesterday, and he was doing a mix and master for me because there's this one tune I've been trying to get right since November, and I've not been able to do it, and it just doesn't sound how I want it to sound. Even now, he's done an amazing job on it, but there's a sound in there that I don't like. That's on my part. So yeah, it can be ages, or it can be, I like to say, you can have it done within a couple of days.
It's a blessing and the curse of having like super attention to detail.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've got a real attention to detail, which is important.
Yeah.
For sound engineer and artist.
It's well annoying. I'll send it to people and like, yeah, it sounds sick. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Yeah, you're either lying to me or maybe I'm just hearing something else, but I don't know.
Yeah. So you, even though you have got prior mixing and mastering experience, you said you went in with legend Paul Cyril yesterday. What would your advice be to producers that are there with their track, they finished a track, they're not sure if it needs mixing or mastering? Should they try and do it themselves, or at what point would you seek a professional person to mix and master your track for you?
Do you know what's been helpful? I mean, it's like I said, it's a lot easier now because like there's so many tutorials on YouTube, and it doesn't matter how long you've been in the game, you're still gonna. I watch tutorials on YouTube like mixing stuff because there's always new plugins and there's always, you want to stay on top of like how things are sounding currently. Like if you've made a track and you're playing it in your set and you're going up against the next track is, I don't know, something that Interplanetary Criminals made, then if he's had his properly mixed and mastered, his is going to sound a lot fuller, a lot louder, and a lot more energetic than your track that hasn't been mixed and mastered. So it's important to do it. Definitely, like it's so integral to do it. That doesn't mean you have to throw like processing on every single instrument. It just means get it sounding to a point where it almost volume-wise sounds like as good as the other stuff, or like energy-wise, which is it's not easy. It's easier said than done, obviously. But just watch some tutorials, or even do what I did, like just take it to someone and ask if you can just sit in the studio with them while they do it and just observe what they're doing.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. So before we get into your first release, a question that I'm curious to know is, how do you think that your diverse range of roles within the music industry, you know, teaching, you know, you've studied it at degree level, how do you think that's helped you as an artist?
It sounds like a job interview question. I got asked this at a job interview one time. Do you know what, obviously, let's talk like music business, for instance. Like, obviously, I have a good understanding, a better understanding of music business than what I did when I first started making music, like, how many years ago, do you know what I mean? So I understand that it is an industry, end of the day, like, and it's all changed now, like, it's always changing, like the way music's consumed, streams and whatnot, and social media and stuff like that. It helps to have a good understanding of that, because as we know, like, content is the thing now, innit? Do you know what I mean? You're sat in this room with 3 cameras pointed at us. Like, content is sort of the main thing. You can have a wicked tune, but unless this algorithm pushes it like in the right direction, it's probably not going to get heard. And it's so weird. It's such an annoying thing to try and tackle. But just my experience from like management and the way events works and the way like radio works and the way streaming works, and like it helps when you're putting out your own tunes.
Yeah, because it clearly has helped you, because you only released your first track officially as Jae Depz in 2023, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
And your first release was Off My Mind. Was that self-released?
That was self-released, yeah. Actually, before that I did a bootleg, and that which only went on SoundCloud. I was so gassed with this bootleg, I was trying to make it official, but I didn't hear anything back. Yeah,
what was the bootleg?
It was Libyanka People. Cool. Do you know the song?
Cool. No, I don't.
I'm not going to sing it, but
I'll listen to it after.
Yeah, please don't. But
Still on SoundCloud?
I think it's still on SoundCloud. Someone asked me to do it. It was so mad. Like, someone, a lad from Belgium, he asked me, I think it was for his missus who passed away. He said that was her favourite song. Can I make a remix of it? And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go. I was like, shit, what if you don't like it? So I did it, and he loved it, and then I just put it out, and then it started to gain some legs, and people started playing it. I'm like, this is mad.
I need to listen to it.
Yeah, it was. I liked it at the time, to be fair. I don't know. Yeah. Like, Off My Mind, I don't even like now, I'll be honest with you.
So that Off My Mind was your first release on Spotify.
Yeah.
Did you make the visuals for it? Because that's obviously not a label.
Yeah, I did the visuals for it. That's what I mean. I did everything for it, the artwork, the visuals.
Incredible. Yeah. So could you talk us through the process of getting that track finished to getting it out as an independent?
Yeah. I mean, there was like a bunch of stuff I was working on at the time, and that just seemed to be the one that clicked for me. Because for one, there was no samples in it. It was like a splice sample was the vocal. I'd done all the instruments myself, the piano, the organ, everything like that. So there was no excuse really not to put it out. and I didn't really I don't think I teased it anyway. I just like promoted it and I just dropped it really. And like at the time, because it was my first release, I was pushing it whatever way I could. Obviously on TikTok, I was using stuff like Submit Hub to try and get it on Spotify playlists and daily playlists and stuff, try and push it on Spotify, and sending it out to YouTube channels like Aero and Selected and Organ Vibes and stuff like that, and just trying to push it through every avenue.
Yeah, amazing, and it clearly worked. What did it feel like hearing your track, obviously DJ?
Yeah.
What did it feel like hearing it played out in a club or festival environment and seeing the response to your first couple of releases?
Yeah, it was good. Do you know what? Like, it was really good. I mean, there's something in that track. This is like the perfectionist in me. I don't like one thing in that song, and it's like the snare. I don't like the snare, but it's too late now. But no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares. I've been doing sets, and people have, when they hold the phones up, like, can you play Off My Mind? I'm like, no, I don't even have that in my head. I'm not playing that, but yeah, it did feel good, like having it out there, and it was definitely like a step forward for me.
Yeah, wow. People can take something away from the fact that you didn't like the snare, but I can guarantee there will not be one person in the crowd that will be like, that snares.
At all. Yeah, there's always something in every song that the person who made it probably won't like, but it's out.
Something that I'm sure you get asked about quite a lot is you did an official remix of the top 10 hit single, Asking, Sonny Fodera, MK, Clementine Douglas. Obviously, that's huge.
Yeah.
How did that come about, that official remix?
That was mad. After I did Off My Mind, I don't think did I do what else? No, that was the third one I put out. So after I did Off My Mind, I was just like, I had a couple of gigs coming in, not from Off My Mind, but like just had a couple of gigs coming in general. So I just wanted to make a remix of that. I loved the tune. It was so sick, and it was one of them tunes where everyone's doing remixes of it. So there were like hella remixes. So I made mine. At the time, I'm thinking, this isn't going to go anywhere because like so many people have done like so many sick remixes of it. So I did it and I put it on TikTok, and I was pushing it on TikTok. When I was trying to push TikTok, so I was doing like, I don't know, not dancing videos, but I was doing the most like content-wise, trying to promote it.
Yeah.
And it started moving a little bit, but it wasn't doing anything crazy. And then H2O dropped me a DM on TikTok. If you don't know H2O, they legends in the game, like from What's It Gonna Be, like they messaged me and I was like, what the because these are like, they're just legends in the game, aren't they? They messaged me asking for the track. I was like, all right. So I sent them it, and they said, we're doing a mix from Ministry of Sound, so we'll put it in that. So they did it, and so when I got the video back for that Ministry of Sound set they'd done, I took the clip of them playing. It was right at the end. They played it as a last tune. I cut that and I just put it on TikTok, and I think it started moving, and then before I knew it, it was like 2,500, 3,000 creations. And like however many hundreds of thousands or millions of views or whatever. And I was like, yo, that's mad. At the time when I first made it, like I said, I didn't think anything was going to come of it. But I thought the only way something's going to come of it if I'm really proactive with it. So I messaged MK, I DM'd MK, I emailed Solo Toko, which was Sonny Fodera's label. I was tagging Sonny Fodera, tagging Clementine Douglas. Clementine commented like fire emojis, and I was like, all right, cool, stepping in the right direction. MK responded asking for the tune, and I thought, yeah, okay. Then nothing happened for like 2 months, and then after the TikTok was sort of blowing up, they emailed me and asking for it.
Incredible.
Yeah,
what did that feel like?
I was buzzing. I was like, no fucking way. I was just overly like gassed about it.
Yeah, to get that support from like such big figures in the scene.
Yeah, and it was mad. Like I'd done it, and I had a call with like Sonny Fodera's management and his label and team, and I was talking to him, and I said to him, "Yo, can I get the official vocal? Because I've just used like an AI rip of my vocal." And I said, "Oh no, it sounds good how it is." I'm like, "Really?" I've just like mixed it myself. I didn't master that one. I sent it to a guy called Ian Bland. He mastered that one. But I mixed it all myself, and so even now listening back, I'm like, yeah, certain bits could have done better. They just wanted to throw it out there, and they put it out, and it's done like mad numbers. Yeah.
What did it feel like hearing other DJs playing that tune out on the circuit?
It was sick because like I was already sending it out. So one thing I was mega proactive on, and I still kind of am, is just emailing tunes out. So when I made that, I was just emailing it to everyone, like obviously Danny Bond and all the organ DJs that might play it, like Morgan Seatree, and like people were playing it out and stuff, and it was good.
Yeah, because you've had some support from some really big names, obviously.
Yeah.
MK, TS7 as well.
Yeah, T's downloaded a lot of stuff from mine. Yeah.
Cool. And then that brings us to your recent release, which is a big one. It's a big tune, collaboration with Semper, When in Love. Could you tell us a bit about that, please?
Where do I start with that one? Like, Semper had sent me, basically I was getting something else signed by Pull Up.
Yeah.
It was a track, it was a Rihanna remix called Needed Me. And that one I just like, I'll talk a bit more about that in a bit actually, but yeah, we was focusing on that, and Semper said, oh yeah, do you want to work on something? And he sent me stems for When in Love. He'd done a remix of Prosper's When in Love. And as bad as it sounds, I'd not heard the Prosper track before. I've heard a lot of Prosper's music, but that one, even though it was one of their bigger ones, I'd not heard it. So I thought it was his original tune. So I'm like, yeah, right. And then I realised it was a remix and a sample. So he'd sent me it as like, he sent me drums and like a bass, a Reese bass. So then I've like thrown the organ on it and like, and we've played about and just filled it out. And and we had it there. And then he goes to me, oh, do you want to, because the organ bass was going to come in the second drop. And the Reese bass, it was, that ain't even how it goes. But yeah, that Reese bass was the first drop. And he said, oh, swap around. And a couple of people said swap around as well, so I did. And we put it on TikTok, and then that started moving as well. And we only made it for like just our sets, really. We had a couple of sets coming up, and we just wanted something to play in our sets that had a bit of energy in it. We didn't think anything of it. I was like, I liked it, but I was like, yeah, it's all good. But that Rihanna tune that I've done that's coming out, that's the better one.
So is that going to be released officially, the Rihanna one?
No, it's out. It's out. It came out under Pull Up as a bootleg.
Wicked.
But my focus was all on that. It wasn't even on this When in Love tune.
Yeah.
And then labels started knocking for it.
Yeah.
Which was hard to get over the line because it was like, it's a remix. But it was weird.
And so how did you know that 3Beat was the right home for that track?
Well, I love what 3Beat are doing and always have done. Like, 3Beat have been a sick label. I remember TS7 being on them years ago. That's how I first heard of him. And obviously they had Philip George, Wish You Were Mine, and Scala, and they've had loads of massive hits. And most recently, like Reese's Where Have You Been, which was an absolute banger and just a massive tune overall. But before 3Beat showed any interest, it was Columbia that wanted it first.
Right.
And Columbia were obviously a massive label, so like we were just going to put it out as a free download, me and Semper.
No way.
Yeah, it was just going to go out, but I said it was going to go out as a free download, and I wanted to put it out like end of November, but he said, oh, well, I've got a release coming out, so can we do it like a couple of weeks after? I said, all right then. So in that couple of weeks, Columbia got in touch. So it would have been out on SoundCloud then, and this is the hard thing about like putting music out and promoting it through TikTok and stuff, because people are so impatient. So like we're telling people, yeah, it's coming out next week, and then a label comes on board and wants to sign it and like obviously pay you for it and go down the proper like avenues for it, and you have to put things on hold. Yeah. So we had to put it on hold.
And what was that process like, getting the sample cleared?
Getting the sample cleared, it all got replayed, so the sample and the vocal got replayed. Publishing wise, like for your publishing and stuff like that, so you see your royalties, and that wasn't even the hard part, to be fair. That wasn't the hard part. It was the deal went on for like 3-4 months, and we'd not signed anything, but we were still getting told, don't put it on SoundCloud yet, we're almost ready to sign it, and then for whatever reasons, one of the reasons, the deal fell apart in the last sort of hurdle. But it's kind of a blessing. It was kind of a blessing in disguise, to be fair. But then 3Beat came along and put it out. Yeah.
And it's worked really well. Clearly.
Yeah, and it's worked out well, yeah.
So on that topic, Semper is also the label head of Pull Up. Yeah. And I know you've worked closely with Pull Up. Yeah. Please could you tell us a little bit about your working relationship with Pull Up and how that came about?
Yeah, it's a funny one, that, because so before When in Love, after Off My Mind, I signed with this label called Perfect Havoc in London, and I put out this record called Make You Hot. It was like a speed garage, like housey record.
With Mavada.
Yeah. and so Movado was already signed at the time. That's the way I got sort of talking to him. So I put that out, and they were really buzzing about it. They were like, "Yeah, it's a massive record," and I loved it. I loved that record. I don't know, but like I did. I'll say that about loads of my tunes there, but I loved it at the time, and they were really buzzing about it. And then we put it out, and I think because it was more underground than their usual releases. If you know Perfect Havoc, I think their biggest signing was Joel Corey.
Right.
So like, he's way more commercial than anything I ever make. That was more underground, so I think they were getting some pushback from radio. So I feel like they sort of they went a bit cold in it, but they were putting out loads of other stuff as well. So like, I didn't think it was moving anywhere. Thought it is what it is. Got a bit of radio play, but nothing like major, significant. Then I got this DM a couple of months after it had been released, saying, "Yo, my name's Flav. I work for this record label called Pull Up. I also work at the Co-op, and I've just heard your tune come on in the Co-op." I'm like, "What?" I thought it was lying at first. Like, why is this tune getting played in the Co-op?
Yeah.
Like in Wales as well. It was in like Co-op. It must be in Cardiff or something.
That's so random.
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, man, the tune's usually dead in here." But then that came on, I Shazammed it, and I messaged her. I'm like, "All right, sound." And he said, "Oh, we've got this festival coming up called Gemfest. I'm playing there. Can I have some tunes off you? Or if you got any demos, you can send the label." So I sent him a bag of tunes, and then he was tagging me in videos, been playing them at this festival. I'm like, this is mad. And then I obviously that sort of I got in talking to Pull Up. In that time, that Rihanna record that I just did it as a bootleg. I'd done like a TikTok and a reel on it, and that was gaining a bit of traction. And then Pull Up wanted to sign it and put it out, so I said, "Yeah, have that one," and that's how I got in with Pull Up.
Amazing. That's really cool.
It's weird. You really don't know where your music's going at all, or where it's being played. It's so strange.
No, well, you wouldn't think seeing you on the stage at Gemfest started with someone that works in Co-op hearing your tune on the radio.
It's
That's
such
mad.
a weird, like, it's such a bad story, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting. Like I say, you don't know where it's going. There's certain tools you can use to track where it's being played. But I mean, all the things I've checked, it never shows I've been played in Co-op radio. So I don't know.
What, so Co-op have their own radio station?
It must be like, do you know, like, you go into Asda, you have Asda radio, don't you? And like, Zara radio, which is a popping one. But but yeah.
I love that story. That's so cool. Cool. So I think that leads us on nicely to chat a little bit about your DJ career, which is obviously you're smashing it. It's incredible to see what you're getting up to in terms of your DJing. Can we go right back to the start of your DJ career?
Yeah.
What were your first steps? What equipment did you learn on? How did you learn?
I learned on like the worst equipment possible. And to be honest, it's often better to work on like crappy equipment and to learn on crappy equipment, because then if you go on something really good, it should be a lot easier. But yeah, I learned on some old Newmark. I don't know what models they were. They were CDJs, but they were just like CDs of buffering, and yeah, it wasn't like now you see the waveform and stuff like that. Obviously, it was really like use your ears to get it all right and stuff like that. Yeah, I learned on them. And of course, I was working with the youth service at the time. We did a lot of under 18s dues, and I DJ for them. So myself, like Sean Dean and Sean Coy and people like that were DJing for some of these gigs. And one of the first gigs I played at, like Jamie Duggan was on the lineup, so I was like that was one of my first gigs. I was playing with Jamie Duggan at this under 18 party, and it was Love Apple, but it was called Lust at the time.
Right.
So if anyone knows Love Apple in Bradford, it was like a big club in Bradford. So it was there. So yeah, I just got into it that way, and then got into recording mixes and like really like grinding, sending mixes to promoters and going out and meeting people and stuff like that.
Amazing. And at what point was there a moment where you were like, oh, like this could actually go somewhere? Was a particular gig or a particular time period?
I suppose. Well, my DJ career has been like that. It's like not really been so like up where I've like peaked or anything like that. But like, so obviously I was doing like them sort of gigs that I was talking about, and then I got playing for a promotions company called Hectic. So I played there, and this was when like Jacking House was becoming the big thing, and bassline was still massive back then. And so
what sort of year was that?
Like 2021, I think. No, 2011, sorry. 2011. So yeah, I was doing that. And then sort of, yeah, it didn't really, life gets in the way, and I just sort of found something more sustainable. I wasn't doing like them sort of gigs as much, just because it was just hard to get booked for them. To be fair, it was just really hard to get booked for them, and a lot of clubs in Bradford at the time were starting to shut down. So I used to play regularly at a place called Envy, and Envy's took a lot of different life forms over the years, but this was Envy like 2011, 2010, 2012 times, where again, like I said, bassline was popping. We had Platinum there, Triller, and like loads of other artists there. And yeah, when bassline sort of started to dip off a little bit, I found myself doing more like club residencies and bar residencies, like doing more open format stuff. And it was like regular. It's nowhere near as fun and as good as what I'm doing now, but it was just regular work. Do you know what I mean? And doing wrong, it was at the time I was having fun, but like it was it was just more regular, more sustainable. To be fair.
So on your way up, you were sort of playing open format, like you say.
Yeah, just all sorts, like hip hop, R&B, house. Still playing bassline and stuff like that, where it worked, and yeah.
So obviously now you've still got a pretty eclectic style, but you've definitely got a sound.
Yeah.
This is a difficult question, but how would you personally describe your sound as a DJ?
I don't want to be generic and say energetic, because obviously it's bassline, it's speed garage. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of raw. Do you know what I mean? It is really just maybe just energetic and just yeah.
It's what people love. I love that. Yeah. How do you prepare for your sets? Do you go into it knowing exactly what track's going to play? Do you just have a random playlist? What's your approach to that?
So no, sometimes I just go in and wing it. To be fair, like I might know what the first couple of tunes are that I'm going to play, and then I'll just see what the crowd are saying, and just sort of vibes off that. Really, like there's some sets like Bassline Festival, for instance, like that I had to plan because it was such a short set. It was half an hour, and I knew there were certain tunes I wanted to cram into that, and with them half an hour, I don't often do half an hour sets, but with that I thought I want to really like go in and do mashups, because I feel like when I was coming back, I sacked off my residencies. Like, I just stopped doing like the open format stuff and the residencies, because like I didn't want to do it anymore. I knew I wanted to just focus mainly on like speed garage and bassline and stuff and house. And at the time I was just like doing like loads of mashups, like online on TikTok, on Insta, and just posting them. So I feel like that helped me get a bit of a sort of fan base, doing that sort of stuff, like throwing acapellas over different tunes and mixing them in. So I just wanted to do something like that. So I planned that out, not to a T. I had to improvise a bit, but a lot of the time, no, I'll just go in and see what the vibe is, and just because it's one of them. If you plan a set and then you go down to a gig, and the DJ before you has played most of the tunes you're going to play, and you have no backup, or you're like, oh shit, I don't know what, you don't get any experience like just winging it, then you're screwed a bit, aren't you? Yeah.
With winging it, especially as you say that you throw acapellas over drums, and it sounds like you do a lot of live stuff that you incorporate your production elements in. I can imagine with that, obviously you're a very skilled DJ, so most of the time it sounds bang on, but has there ever been a point where you're like, oh no, panic mode, or someone's come up and spoke to you whilst you're trying to do a tricky mix and you've recovered it? But is there anything like that that's happened?
Man, this happens, not a lot, but it happens. Like, I mean, to do that, the mashup, the quick stuff, obviously you have to utilise your hot cues. So sometimes you'll press a hot cue and it doesn't instantly go to where it needs to go, so there's a bit of a delay. So it's happened before where I've hit a hot cue and it's been off by a beat, so I've had to like recover it and just bring it back in, or you're about to do a mix and someone's coming and talking and you just got to be like, yo, hold on. Or just try and blank them out and just do it, not to like look ignorant or all, but like you just got to focus on doing what you're doing and getting the mix right.
Yeah, do you have any advice to DJs that struggle with the anxiety of someone coming to talk to them whilst they're doing tricky mixes, or, outside factors? What would you say to people that are worried about things like that?
I mean, from doing the residence and stuff, like, I don't know, it's kind of like got used to people like play this tune, do this, do that, and trying to talk to you and chew your ear off. Just got to tell them like, you're working in it, just give me a minute, or just give me 2 minutes, or I can't talk right now. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be really just sort of you just got to be straight with people, really.
I think people forget that as well, that you're working and it's your job.
Exactly. Like, I mean, obviously you want to be nice, and obviously you've got to be nice to people, but like, if someone's coming up pissed out of their head and like trying to distract you mid-job, like, you need to tell them, yo, now's not the time, and just crack on what you're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, you've played all over the country and you've played at some of the biggest clubs and festivals, but you also play a lot in your hometown of Bradford and the neighbouring city of Leeds. Yeah. What's the scene like in Bradford and Leeds? Bradford
and Leeds have two very different scenes, and it's weird because we're in like a couple miles apart. They have very different scenes. So Bradford is still very bassline. That's why when people are saying bassline's back, in Bradford it never left, because like you could still get away with playing bassline tunes that came out 20 years ago, and people are still gonna have the same reaction to it, like they've just heard it. Like, so it's never left really. Like the nightlife scene, just similar to what's happening all over the country, is died off because nightclubs is getting shut down, and so there's only a couple, if not like one main club that throws bassline events, Lemon Shed, and so there is a scene for it. But in Leeds, I feel like it's very housey. Like, people like house in Bradford, but you never see many house events happening there at all. Or if they do, they just haven't really worked to like how they should, or been given the credit they should be given. But in Leeds, it's very housey. There's a lot more venues in Leeds, isn't there? Yeah,
interesting, because I don't know much about the scene in Bradford. Yeah. But I do know that in 2023, Leeds was the City of Culture, but then 2025, this year, Bradford, City of Culture. Yeah. And I've seen online that you've got involvement in that, and you've been performing at launch events and things. Could you tell us a little bit about your involvement in that and why that's important for Bradford?
Yeah, obviously I grew up in Bradford, spent most of my life there, and I'm still there a lot. Like, I'm still all the time, really. So I'm happy to be involved in it, because I feel like I have an understanding of how the scene works. It's not like I'm making a change or anything like that, but I'm still glad to be involved in like some of the amazing things that are happening there, some of the amazing productions and showings that are happening.
Yeah. So what have you performed at with Bradford 2025?
So I performed at the launch, the launch announcement. First off, it was the announcement. When it got announced, it was like 2 years ago, and everyone was in City Park, and I was a DJ there, and that was just a vibe. City Park was rammed, and it got announced that we were going to be the City of Culture, and it was just we were playing tunes and performing. It was sick. And then one of the actual launches was last year, I think it was, which was just like a launch of the program and seeing what was going on. That was good. That was like I was going in DJing for a bit, and then I was like part of the show, just like queuing things up. And then the official launch was Bradford Rise, which was a mad thing to be involved in. And Bradford Rise, from some clips online, people might think it was just some like big festival in Bradford in what started January. It wasn't that at all. It was a massive production involving like Stephen Frayne, who's Dynamo, and a woman called Kirsty Housley. Her and all the amazing people of Bradford have put together this production, which was like rappers, poets, obviously me being a DJ and producer. I worked with this composer, so we'd created like a soundtrack for this whole production as well. Like, I was sat in this massive like hall where a big orchestra recording like a long piece, half-hour piece of music, and it was sent to me, and I had to like put beats and bass and everything else over it, and then that got performed on the night.
That's incredible. How did that feel, seeing that?
It was sick. It was so amazing seeing that and like seeing people respond to it. That's like one of the. I've never been so cold in my life on that night. Anyone was out there? Did you go?
No, I wish I had, but I hadn't heard of it at the time.
No way. So that was like. So it was like start of January, maybe second week of January, I think. Yeah. And it was like -3 degrees. Like that's. But there was like, I think over the weekend they pulled in like 24,000 people.
Wow.
So like, there was just 2 nights. So like about 12,000 people a night.
That's incredible.
So I was DJing in front of like that many people, and my hands were absolutely freezing. So I was like, I couldn't really control the mixer too well.
Yeah.
But I was sort of like, it was good. I got to play. I just got to play. They give me free rein basically of what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So like I was playing like speed garage and organ tunes like to that many people in Bradford.
Yeah,
It was
that's
mental.
amazing to bring that to sort of like an audience that might not necessarily listen to that sort of music. So that's really cool. Did any of your friends or family from Bradford growing up come to that event?
Yeah, there were loads of people there. There were absolutely like loads there. I didn't expect to, or just people I hadn't seen in ages. Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was sick. I was just getting, because I was up there, I didn't realise until afterwards, like I was getting tagged in videos and stuff from people I've not seen or spoke to in years. So it was just good. It was just a wicked celebration of Bradford.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Have you got any other career highlights? Because that sounds like a big part of your career in terms of the memory books. Do any other moments come to mind as standout moments in your DJ career?
There's loads, to be fair. I suppose, I think New Year's Eve at Mint Warehouse was a big one for me.
Legendary.
It was so sick. It was Danny Bond and Silver Bumper headlining.
Oh yeah.
And there was Ryan James, Jay Latham, a few other DJs on. And Danny had asked me if I wanted to play on the night. I was like, yes, yeah, of course. So I went and did it, and it was crazy because like this was at the time where When in Love was sort of popping off, and Danny was a massive, and it still is like a massive reason why it like I think has been pushed where it's been pushed, because he's just been playing in every set. So that at midnight, obviously, you know, if you're a DJ New Year's Eve, the tune you play at midnight is such an important thing on the night, and it's Danny Bond, Silver Bumper back to back. And he's told me he was going to play my tune, Mine and Sempers, at midnight. I'm like, what? And I was sort of like, I was mad grateful. But then I was thinking to myself, why? Like, you guys have bangers between you, as if why are you playing our tune? And he played it, and it was just like, what the like? It went off.
And you're bringing in the new year for that. This that's how people with your tune.
Yeah, exactly. That's how the new year got brought in. It in Warehouse with Mine and Sempers tune. It was just like, you know, when people say, I mean, Danny's not going to bullshit me. I knew he wasn't going to do that. But you know, when people like gas you up, and I'm thinking, is he actually going to do it? And like part of me's thinking that. I knew he would, but because he said he's going to. But like, yeah, it happened. And then obviously I got to play there. I closed it from 3 p.m. till 4. Oh, 3 a.m. till 4 a.m. Sorry. And yeah, I closed the show, and it was sick.
That sounds like a moment. I've seen some clips on your Instagram from that night, and it just looks like it went off.
Yeah, it was mad.
You've also got some exciting shows coming up.
Yeah.
What can you talk about? What have we got in the pipeline?
Well, there's Leeds Fest, which is a sick one. I'm gassed for that. Like,
is that your debut?
Debut at Leeds, yeah. I've not been at Leeds Fest in years. Like, I've obviously never played there, but like playing there was just going to be mad. So like, and do you know what I love? It's such like a homegrown sort of lineup as well. There's Cam UKG, who's one of my boys. He's so sick. He's on it. Got Shadev, who's wicked. There's like so many like sick like local garage DJs and baseline DJs that are playing Leeds and Reading.
Yeah. Are you what stage are you on?
So I'm doing the after hours stage.
Okay.
So like, yeah, I think after the festival's done, or it might be the Thursday. I think it's a Thursday night when they're doing like for an after hours thing. So after the festival, they have an after hours stage where there's me, there's other DJs, there's Badger on, C100, there's like a lot of other DJs playing stuff, yeah. And
everyone will be buzzing as well, especially like after hours, because that's what's special about Leeds. I don't think I didn't have the after hours thing.
Yeah, so. Defo.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, I'm buzzing for it.
Anything else that you're allowed to talk about?
It depends when this comes out, to be fair. I'll say it now, and if it doesn't come out.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. It's so Fishy's tour, Fish 56 Octagon.
So
he's
cool.
playing in Sheffield and Nottingham. I think I'm doing both nights, to be fair, supporting him, which obviously he's a legend. And then there's some other bits and bats that are sort of slowly coming in. Do you know what I mean? I'm still trying to get on more festivals, and because it's like got the bug for it, really and truly.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out for all the exciting stuff that's to come. Yeah, exciting. I'd like to talk a little bit about, I know you've got a bit of a team around you. You've got management and an agent.
Yeah.
You're with NQ Management, who also manage the likes of H and Miss, so it's clearly a very trusted, respected management.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Did they approach you? Did you approach them? What was the process into becoming managed by them?
They approached me, but it was, I already like had a working relationship with them, so I got introduced to them from being at uni down in Manchester.
Okay.
When I met with Addicts and Louis, and just always sort of maintained a relationship there with some of their A&Rs as well. And I used to go down and just like, utilize the studio and obviously and produce beats for some of their artists. And yeah, so that relationship was already there. And then when the thing happened with like the Sonny Fodera and MK remix, Lars, it was an A&R there, he messaged me and said, look, I'm getting into management, I'm taking a management role here. Would you be on board for coming on as one of our artists and letting us manage you? So I was like, yeah, definitely. Like it's something that I was already thinking about. I was again saying to my mate, I was saying, look, I need a manager at some point because like I'm trying to just do a lot and there's a lot of other things that I need help with.
And how would you say having a manager has changed the way you work and your career?
It helps loads because like when it comes to like any advice on labels, when it comes to obviously record labels and signing deals and stuff, like it's just I don't really have to worry about much on that end, like, and especially like with strategizing like what your plans are and what you're trying to do. There's nothing, it's still graft, you still have to work your ass off. But there's things you don't have to worry about as much really and truly, whereas if you're an indie artist and like say if I was just independent and like Columbia approached me, then I'd know that I have to get a lawyer involved. I'm not have to get this, but it'd just be a much harder process to follow. So
at what point in an up-and-coming DJ producer's career would you advise that they start seeking a manager?
It differs for each person. I suppose when you feel like, you'll know, I feel like when things are getting really on top, like, I feel like when doing the sort of managerial stuff yourself starts really taking away from doing the creative stuff. I feel like that's a good point. And also, at a point where you feel like you need help with strategizing and pushing your artist's brand forward, like to be in a proper serious professional position. 100%. And at what point did you get an agent? This was recently. This was like I was like 2-3 months ago, a couple of months ago. It's been sick, like again, like I from just doing music business, sort of that side of things, I know how beneficial having an agent is. And like the way the scene's run at the moment, the garage scene and baseline scene and stuff like that, like I noticed a lot of it is like young collectives that are obviously run by students and stuff, which is sick because like when I was in college, for instance, like a lot of these things weren't happening. But it's good that like people in college and unis are running their own events and on like promotions things, and I feel like there was a bit of it was hard to bridge the gap to get booked onto these things and get booked onto some of the bigger events and stuff like that. So I recognised that I'm probably going to need an agent, to be fair. So I was looking at I spoke to a couple of people. I spoke to one other agency, and there was this other agency that were on my radar, but I didn't realise I was on their radar either. So I was like watching what they're doing and then watching what I'm doing. And then didn't realise, and then slid me a DM, and we just got chatting, and then the sort of things moved from there really. And like within did a couple of gigs for him. I did 2 gigs in one night from that. Was the first sort of experience of working with him. The agency's MB, they're wicked. Ed's an absolute G. So is Will and Seth and that. And the first gig I did, I actually covered for one of their DJs who was ill, Pirate, and I went and did a gig down in Shrewsbury, and then I had to drive to Barnsley and do a gig there, playing with Big Ange, and it was sick. But being with him has been. It's another thing that like I think a lot of new up and coming like DJs struggle with is like I've been asked this quite a lot. Oh, how do you work out what you charge for a gig, or what should I be charging at my stage? Do you know what I mean? And should I be playing for free? And there's obviously advantages to playing for free. I mean, even stepping back into it, I've done it. Do you know what I mean? But helping with an agent, so again, puts your mind at ease. Like, especially if you've got a lot of gigs coming up, and like. It help balance your calendar and sort travel out and sort out the fees and stuff like that and negotiate that. So it just takes a lot off your mind really. It sounds like you've got a solid team with your management and your agency as well. They're definitely pushing to get me shows and stuff, which is wicked. And a big part of that, I can imagine, it helps avoid things like burnout, and it's someone to talk to as well, because obviously there's a lot of pressure in the music industry. Aside from having the management and the agency, how do you personally handle the pressures and the potential burnout of working in the music industry? It's just important to take time off when you need to, really and truly. I'm guilty of this, just grafting until I burn myself out. You really got to treat it as a 9 to 5, where sometimes if it comes to 5 o'clock a day, you just got to shut it off and just maybe reset and just go again the next day or the next week or whatever. Like, really and truly, yeah, it's fast pacing, but you can still, there's nothing wrong with taking a bit of a break and then coming back into it. Like, no one's going to forget about you like that. Do you know what I mean? I
think that's really important, because there is this like graft mentality where you've got to go or you're not going to make it. But you are right, you'll just burn out and it's not necessarily the most productive thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What are some of we'll start with, I like to end on a positive. So what are some of the hardest parts of what you do and what are some of the best parts of what you do?
That's a good question, this. Some of the hardest parts, obviously finding that work-life balance, like I just spoke about, like trying to treat it as a 9 to 5, which is hard as a creator, because sometimes you get ideas in the middle of the night, and like even last night, like everyone was in bed and I'm just still trying to make tunes because we need to get like remixes done or whatever, or get tracks finished, and I'm just like half asleep on my laptop, just like trying to fire melodies in. Do you know what I mean? I'll just try to get something in there before I go to bed. So it's the hardest bit can be trying to find that balance. And also, I did say, take a break, and I feel like I've had to really push to get my foot back in the door. It's not been easy, and it's not easy because I'm nowhere near where I want to be. So I've still got like loads of scope, I feel like, to grow as an artist and to move forward as a DJ. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of places I want to play. There's loads of things I want to achieve. So yeah, the hardest bit is knowing again where to just give yourself a break and give yourself that cut off time.
And what do you like to do in that time where you're away from music in your downtime?
Well, obviously, family. Spend time with family. Spend time with my daughters, my girlfriend, and yeah, I'm a gamer.
Yeah,
I'm a gamer, but I don't like my dream is to just be as successful or whatever, or just make a living, or make enough songs where I can just float by. I don't have to really do anything. I can just play games, really and truly.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because a few other people who work in the music industry are into gaming, and I feel like, what do you think it is about gaming that appeals to a lot of musicians?
I think all musicians are just nerds, really. That's what it is. I think we're all just big nerds, and I think I've been from being young. So yeah, I think that's just what it is. I don't play games enough as what I'd like to be honest, because I just don't have the time. With obviously family and this music thing, it just feels like it's 24/7, because as a creative, you never really switch off. And
you can't decide when you're going to get that creative flow and
exactly.
start.
And I feel like there's been times where, just before I got into like doing this, I was like really heavy into gaming, like more like online gaming and stuff. But then I realised I was just like, I felt like I was just wasting time. Do you know what I mean? I felt like so sometimes when I jump on to play a game, I feel like I'm just wasting my time here. Like,
but it's funny you say that about wasting time, but then I think people forget to recognise that it can be important as well.
It's
because
important,
if you struggle to switch off from music, gaming does take you to literally another world.
Yeah, so exactly.
It is important.
It is downtime, really, and mentally, you need that downtime.
100%.
So yeah, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was sat like 2 o'clock in the afternoon playing games, like, then I'd definitely be wasting time.
There's a line,
yeah. But if I stick a game on for an hour at night, then that's calm.
And what about the best parts of your job?
Best parts are just, there's loads really. It's just DJing and just being out there and just having something you've made resonate with people, I suppose. And also like seeing other up and coming artists and stuff that you've helped and just flourish and do what they're doing. There's loads. It's just, it's crazy. There's just a lot of perks to it, really.
Yeah.
A lot of perks. Going and meeting people and being social. Like, I've met so many sick artists and DJs in this game. Like, people from time I've looked up to, I'm like, whoa. And I'm just being around them and to be with them and just being able to do it with friends and stuff as well. Like, it's sick.
I love that such a big part of your career is also giving back to people and that full circle moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. You mentioned that even you're killing it and like you on the scene at the minute, like you're everywhere, you're playing at all these sick clubs, venues, releasing on cool labels. But you mentioned you've still got goals above that and like places you want to go to. What are some of those goals? Are there any labels that you'd love to release on, or anywhere you'd love to play? What are those goals looking like?
There's loads. So like speaking with Hyperactive World or TD's label at the moment, and I'm eager to get some out with them. They're eager to get something from me out on their label. Good to work with them, which will happen. ATW is a big one because I love everything that comes out of that label, which is Interplanetary Criminal, Main Phases label, EC2A, Notice I'm Not Disorder, that's a really good label as well, really cool label. There's a good few, there's small local labels as well and local brands I want to work with. It's crazy, like this, I feel like in speed garage and garage, like it's very label heavy, whereas bassline isn't as much. So I feel like I think a lot of people feel like I fit into like a couple of different worlds. Like I'm in speed garage, but I'm also into kind of bassline as well. So I see like how they both kind of operate. Like I said, there's a lot of labels in speed garage, but in bassline there's not that many. Everything's quite self-sufficient and everyone's self-releasing. Well, most people are self-releasing.
Yeah, interesting.
You know what I mean?
So do you think the future of what you're going to put out is more the speed garagey stuff, or do you reckon you put out bassline or house?
I just mix of both really. House, I don't think as much. You probably won't see me doing like tech house as much. Like I did this tech house mix last year, and I love house music as well. But I did the house mix last year. Someone DM'd me the other week saying, "No, I love this mix. Me and my fella have it on all the time. You're going to do another one?" And I said, "Probably not, really, because it's not like the direction I want to go in." It's definitely not the direction I'm trying to go in. Like I'd love to play like a lot of them places, but yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well, we'll look out for you on all those labels there. EC2A,
we're trying. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Labels. So, what can listeners look forward to? What's coming up for you in terms of projects, shows, releases?
Yeah, like I said, we've got a few shows. I mean, some of these will probably happen by the time I speak about them. I'm in Nottingham on July the 4th or the 5th for Baseline Invasion. There's another Bradford show coming up. There is obviously Leeds Fest. And the Sheffield and Nottingham gigs with Fish, and then a couple of other things that sort of just trying to get sorted out.
Yep, lots in the pipeline.
Yeah, lots in the pipeline. I really want to play Boomtown. I've never been, but everyone's telling me about it, and I want to play. And
you'd fit in perfectly there, it would be sick.
Hopefully, so I think I was looking at when it is. I'm going to try and sort something out. I know Semper's playing there. Again, I can probably say that even though it's not been announced yet. But like, I really want to play at that.
No, I'd
festival.
love to see you play at Boomtown.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool, like more speed garage and stuff is coming into the drum and bass festival world.
Defo.
So I love that.
It's weird one for me. I feel like I missed going to like loads of festivals and gigs. Obviously, like I said, I've got 2 daughters, but like I missed going to a lot of these festivals and just raving because for one, it's nothing to do with that. I've not drank in 5 years. I'm not doing anything like that in 5 years. So like, I still enjoy going to festivals and going to gigs and stuff like that. I still do it, and I still go and party out till stupid hours in the morning where I can. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I've missed a lot. So like, and I'm grateful that I get to sort of make up for it by going and playing at these places.
Yeah.
No,
that must be amazing to go and like play, but then also enjoy the festival.
Yeah,
you love the music at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I still get to get about and just enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I love that. Cool, right, exciting stuff. We like to do a little quick fire round, this or that questions, because you've been talking and we've been hearing some amazing stories, so I think I'll give you a little breather.
All right.
1, day parties or nighttime raves?
Day parties.
Digital or vinyl?
I'd say vinyl, but I don't own loads of vinyl. But yeah, definitely vinyl, better sound.
Ableton or Logic?
Logic.
Analog synths or digital plugins?
Both got benefits. The sound of an analog synth, but there's just the ease of using digitals.
Yep. Night owl or early bird?
Defo early bird.
Studio time or playing live?
Playing live.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Techno or drum and bass?
Drum and bass.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Solo sets or back-to-back sets?
Solos.
City or countryside?
Countryside.
Collaboration or remix?
Collaboration.
Preferred BPM at 130 or 140?
140.
Free party or after party?
Free party.
Beach party or warehouse rave?
Beach party.
Instagram or TikTok?
Depends what for. I'll go away. Insta.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Front row or back of the crowd?
Back of the crowd.
Festivals or nightclubs?
Festivals.
Sweet or savoury for your post-gig snacks?
Sweet.
Love it, smashed it. You got through that really quick.
Yeah.
Love it. So for our last question, we like to ask our guests, if you could go back and meet yourself at the very start of your career in music, what's one piece of advice that you'd give yourself?
Don't be such a pisshead, really. It's just like, focus, man. No, don't weigh yourself too thin. Like, don't try be the jack of all trades, master of none, really. Like, focus on what you like really, really want to do, and just get yourself out there and just do it. Basically, don't be really scared of putting yourself out there.
Amazing advice, thank you.
Yeah.
So if people are listening and they're like, this guy's sick, I want to see what he's getting up to, I want to hear more about him, where can people find you on socials? Just
Jae Depz on everything, JaeDepz. On TikTok, Insta, defo not Twitter, that's getting deleted. Snapchat, everything.
Wicked.
YouTube, yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been amazing to hear all your stories. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Beyond the Booth with me, your host, Grace Garcia. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check us out on social media at We Are Academy 94 and stay tuned for next week's episode. I'll see you there.